Chapter 1. How a person is to advance in this mystical theology by negation of all that is on this side of God. Timothy, my friend, whenever by the steering of divine grace you set yourself to undertake the active exercise of your blind contemplation, see that with strong, prudent, and eager contrition you forsake your bodily senses, namely hearing, sight, smell, taste, and touch, and also your spiritual senses, otherwise known as your intellectual activities, and all things that can be known outwardly by any of your 5 bodily senses, and all things that can be known inwardly by your spiritual senses, and all things that now exist or that have existed, though they do not now exist, and all things that do not now exist, or that may exist in the future, though they do not now exist. And so far as it is possible for me to express this and for you to understand it, see that you ascend with me in this grace, in a way that is beyond what you know, to be made one with him who is above all being and all ways of knowing. For by transcendence of yourself and all other things, and by thus cleansing your feelings of all worldly, fleshly, and natural pleasures, and your intellect of everything that can be known according to its own form, then, once everything has been negated in this way, you will be drawn up in your feelings above understanding to the radiance of divine darkness that transcends all being. Take care that none of those unwise people still dwelling in their senses hear about these matters. That is what I call all those who are bound down to knowing and loving the things that can be known and that have a beginning, and whose opinion is that nothing is transcendently higher than such existing things. They expect to know him who has made darkness his hiding place by means of their own kind of knowledge, and since, according to the prophet, the divine teachings of these secrets are above these people, what then shall we say of those who are more unwise, still dwelling not just in their intellectual understanding of natural philosophy, but low down beneath them in the bodily senses which they have in common only with beasts? For these people do not know how to achieve knowledge of the first cause, which is transcendently set above all things, except by making figures of the last and least worthy of existing visible things, such as stocks and stones. And they say that there is nothing higher than those wicked and multifarious shapes, created by themselves in their capricious imaginations. In no way is it so. This is how it must be. We need to acknowledge, recognize, and affirm in him who is above all knowledge and intellect all the positive attributes of all existing things, in that he is the cause of all things. And more appropriately and more firmly, we need to deny all such attributes, in that he is transcendently above them all, supreme in his own nature and distinct from them all, and not to be of opinion that the denial of existing things is contrary to the original affirmation of them, but to hold steadfastly what is seen in faith, that he who in himself is above all things is above all negation of things that exist or could exist, yes, above both their negation and their affirmation. It is for this reason that the saintly Bartholomew, Christ's apostle, states in his writing that Christian theology is both great and minute, and that the gospel is broad and great, but, he says soon afterwards, it is narrow and small. It appears to me that he was carried up to supernatural insight when stating that the good cause of all things speaks both in many words and in brief sayings, for he possessed neither reason nor understanding by means of which he could reach him, who is set in transcendence above all existing things. Yet for all that, he is not concealed, but manifests himself openly in truth and clarity. Not to all, but only to those who rise above all existing things, pure as well as impure, and who pass beyond all ascents to all the holy bounds or limits that are set for human beings or angels, and who abandon all divine illuminations and all heavenly sounds and words, and enter with love into darkness, where, as the Scripture shows, he truly is who is above all.